Hi, this is Mato. Welcome to my online chess lecture. In this video I will show you a game between Mikhail Tal and Fridrik Olafsson. This game was played in Bled in 1961. Mikhail Tal had white pieces and he started with e4. Fridrik Olafsson played c5, the Sicilian defense. Knight to f3, knight to c6, d4. C takes on d4, knight takes on d4, e6, knight to c3, queen to c7, bishop to e3, a6, preventing knight to b5, a3, knight to f6, f4, d6. Olafsson is playing the Scheveningen structure. Queen to f3, bishop to e7, bishop to d3, and both players castled kingside. Bishop to d7, rook from a to e1, b5, queen to g3, lining the queen with the black king. King to h8, knight takes on c6, bishop takes on c6, e5, attacking the knight. Knight to g8, queen to h3, nothing serious, just threatening. Queen takes on h7, checkmate. Knight to h6, it is white to move. In this position, Tal was calculating deep and choosing between king to h1 and f5. Chess experts suggested after the game that king to h1 is a correct move, but Tal just couldn't wait for the attack and played f5. And with this move, the real fun started. Of course, not for Olafsson. Knight takes on f5. The most natural move. Why to move? Most players would play bishop takes on f5. Do you agree? Tal played rook takes knight on f5. If you watch kids playing, you would tell them that this is wrong because rook is more valuable than the bishop. Therefore, bishop takes on f5 is the correct move. Black to move, pawn takes rook, what else? Bishop takes on f5, threatening checkmate. g6, defending against checkmate, but creating weaknesses on the dark squares. White to move. What is the best square for the bishop? Bishop to d4 was played. If bishop goes to d3, then d takes on e5. Back to our game. We have bishop to d4, black to move. King to g8, black chooses the path of the least resistance. This is what Tal said in one of his books. Tal actually spent lots of time calculating what happens after queen to d8, which is the strongest move. Let's see what he calculated. E takes on d6, this is check. Bishop to f6, queen to h4, and then king to g7. This is Tal's calculation. However, in his calculation, Tal missed very simple bishop to g7. Black seems to be fine after this move. King to g7 is a move that Olafsson calculated too, and he didn't like this position for black. One line goes like this. Bishop to d7, this is Tal's line. Sacrificing the bishop. Let's see what is the reason for this sacrifice. Bishop takes on d7. This was a deflection tactic. The bishop is no longer defending d5 and e4 square. Knight to d5. Bishop takes on d4. Queen takes on d4, check. King to h6. What about king to g8? If king to g8, then knight to e7, check. And black must give up the queen. So, king to h6, rook to e4. With a decisive attack, Tal stopped his calculation in this position, believing that he was winning. Let's see if his calculation was right. He is threatening a deadly rook to h4 check. One line goes like this. g5, preventing rook to h4. Then h4, rook to g8, h takes on g5 check. Rook takes on g5, rook to h4 check, king to g6. Knight to e7 check, winning the game. But let's go back. What if, in this position, rook to h5, then rook takes on h5 check, king takes on h5, queen to g7, queen to h4, g3, queen to g5, knight to f6 check, queen takes on f6, queen takes on f6, white is winning. Back to our game. What about pawn takes bishop? What will happen then? Then he takes on d6, check. White is winning the queen. Back to our game. King to g8, e6, bishop to g5. If f takes on e6, bishop takes on e6, and white is winning. Bishop to g5 was played. Pawn takes pawn on f7 check. Rook takes on f7. White to move. There is an opportunity to win the exchange. What would you do in this position if you had white pieces? Would you play bishop to e6 or something else? Please pause and find the best move for white. Tal played bishop takes on g6, rook to g7. If h takes on g6, then queen to h8 checkmate. Rook to g7, queen to e6 check, king to h8, bishop to e6, h6. What's wrong with rook takes on e8? If rook takes on e8, how would you continue? Then queen takes rook check, and after bishop takes queen, rook takes bishop checkmate. Back to our game. That is why Olafsson played h6, providing some air for the king. Black king will soon need an oxygen bottle. Bishop takes on c6, queen takes on c6, knight to e4, rook to e8, queen to g6, rook to e7, white to move. How to continue the attack? What would you do? Tal played h4, attacking the bishop. Black to move, queen to d5. If bishop goes to d2, then one line goes like this. Rook to e2, queen to c4, attacking the rook again. Bishop takes on g7 check, rook takes on g7, queen to e8 check, rook to g8, knight takes on d2, queen to c5 check, queen to e3, and white is winning. Back to our game. After h4 we have queen to d5. Just to mention that at this stage both players had very little time left on the clock. White to move. In this position Olafsson was quite surprised when Tal played a normal move. Bishop takes on g7, check. Rook takes on g7. White to move. Low on time, Tal decided to simplify and to go for the winning endgame. How would you simplify? What would you do? Tal played queen takes on d6. Queen takes queen. Knight takes on d6. Bishop takes on h4. Rook to e8 check. Rook to g8. Knight to f7 check. King to g7. Rook takes rook. Check. King takes rook. Knight takes on h6 check. King to h7. Knight to f5 attacking the bishop. Bishop to g5. b3. And this is the end of the game. Why did Black resign? No. Olafsson touched his king, intending to play king to g6, but the flag on his clock fell, and he lost on time. Luckily, he lost on time. If he didn't, he would be checkmated. What do you think of this game? And that is all. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. I wish you good luck with your chess, and bye for now.